work at Nexus Creative as technical director, which basically means anyone that has a problem with a computer gets thrown at me, and some coding on the side. Honestly, each day is completely different. I can come in one day and there can be a panic and we need to just fix something that's gone wrong. And then other days there will be nice days where we can just sit and proactively sort of coding bits of new websites or whatever. And then there's the clients that we have on a regular basis that we also need to make sure that we're maintaining. So we'll make sure that we've got regular sort of search engine optimization or whatever going on. The sheer range of clients, one day we could be doing something for some sluice-gate company and the next day we could be doing something for a public school. I am incredibly old, so I was about when the internet started to kick off, essentially, when we all used 56k modems that took up the telephone line at the same time. Started to get interested in how these websites were made, essentially. So I started looking at that, essentially, whilst this is still, before sixth form, that sort of time. So I just made a website to make myself and friends laugh. Because I could do that, I just seemed to fall into that at school. I went on A-levels, I did, unusually for someone that is on the technical side of stuff, did more humanities style subjects. So I did history, English and computing because it felt that was the safe one to do. Went on to do that at university, computing, and just saw that through really. The end of university, I had the usual panic of, God, is that it now? What am I going to do now? I've got to be an adult. Started looking at stuff that would suit what I felt that I could do. I had a bit of a wait up doing some admin and stuff, and then I came here and I've been here ever since. I am really not a good example for people, really, because I chose my university purely on... I didn't look into it seriously enough, let's put it that way. I chose one that did a course that would be some computing things. I didn't really look into it that details, which I should have, because it turned out the course I chose was more about operating systems and things that I just wasn't that interested in. I chose a university that meant that I was close enough to home to come and get my washing done and go to the football still. So I'm a really bad example for that. But the course itself was very good because, yes, it specialised, had a couple of modules about operating systems, but it allowed you to choose a lot. So it had sort of like the coding aspect of it, and then you could choose other bits. I rapidly realised that I was quite interested in a lot of the almost like computer design, human-computer interaction kind of stuff. So that was about how people, humans and computers interact. So making sure that certain things are in certain ways and finding out how to design and get things in the right places for people to use, and also how to identify when people are using things in perhaps not the way that you want to do. And I became quite interested in that, and that sort of went hand in hand with the coding and the stuff that I'd already kind of picked up. For my dissertation, I decided I would want to play it fairly safe and do something that I kind of already knew on. So again, I picked the website idea and ran with that because I could already do that and I was already fairly confident on that. And yeah, just ran with that really. Did well on that, so it meant that I had a good base to show off essentially, and that's how I got there really. A lot of it is self-taught. And that's one thing that really sort of emphasised right from things is that you've got to be willing to learn, because technology continues to change every 6 months, and there's a lot of learning, and it's not something that you've got to say, okay, I know how to do this now. It continually evolves and it continually changes. So even with programming, you end up swapping and changing different programming languages because it's just, new ones come along with better features. So that's one thing I'd certainly emphasise, is that you've got to be willing to continue the learning throughout the whole career. You can't just say, yeah, I know it now. It's difficult because I think a lot of people in the industry tend to look for experience. But how do you get the experience if you're not given the chance in the first place? The thing for me is to start building a portfolio and continuing to develop that. A lot of people split themselves into a particular specialism, so they just look at the front end pretty stuff, or they'll go into the back end, which is updated it. So you could choose that, or you could try and bit of everything, so that you can sort of, so you're malleable enough to go in and be something that whatever company wanted. But the big thing would be to build yourself a portfolio. So that's whether coming up with a number of sites that, come up with a CV site, come up with a site that, make a couple of sites that could be pretend sites almost, or even, approaching people who want them, saying, listen, I'll do this for you, if you can do it, like charities and that kind of stuff that are looking for help, and do it that way. It's been a long time since I was applying, but my understanding and my experience would be that to get that portfolio and have some work that you can prove that you can do what you can do. AI is a very interesting topic at the moment. I think a lot of the times you'll find, or I will anyway, buzzwords within the technology industry, and they will come, and a year later they will go. AI is just on that tipping point now where I think it's becoming useful. There's a few things on the internet at the moment that are very interesting, that could take over the world really, and basically do everything for you. Now there is the thing that you still need to know how to sort of use that. So you've got all this information, but you still need that knowledge of how to use it, which is why I think the industry's still obviously going to be there and whatever, but may shift slightly. But yeah, AI in particular is such a huge thing at the moment that it's just going to get bigger, I think. I think picking up that portfolio is number one, and I think also looking to see if contact people off the back, off your own back, even if they're not advertising and they're not whatever, just seeing if you can come in for work experience. It's building that proof that you can do what you say you can, which is often, I think, barrier to getting the full employment offers that often happens, and to show that you are keen to learn as well, and that's a really big thing. To be honest, I'm pretty happy with. I mean, everyone would laugh at me for saying the words "pretty happy," but I'm actually pretty happy with how things have gone. I wouldn't have changed too many things. I think I would have done a lot more research into that further education section. So I wouldn't have thought. Oh, everything will be fine. I should have done a bit more research into that. And also, I had the chance to do a 4-year course instead of a 3-year course, where I'd have a placement for a year. And I think, had I done that, I may have found employment after leaving university better, because you've got that sort of thing that even if it's not particularly relevant to what you want to do, it's still in that same industry, or it's still in that same sort of thing to prove that you're not a moron. But and then you manage to last the year. I think the only other thing that I'd probably say to myself is it will be all right. It's not to panic, and just to keep on going. I must admit, I've been pretty lucky with how things have gone. So.